May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be always acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Happy Advent! Today we enter officially into this season of waiting, the season of expectant hope. The timing of this liturgical season, along with the life of our parish, seems particularly synchronistic this year. Unexpectedly, we find ourselves in a time of transition, a time of waiting, as we begin the work to search and prepare for a new rector. Someone noted to me this week that transitions can bring about anxiety and perceived chaos. I can only imagine that Jesus' followers must have felt much the same way as they listened to him preach about his impending departure and eventual return. Jesus doesn't sugarcoat what will happen. He says that there will be distress on the earth, among nations, confused by the roaring of the seas and the waves. People will faint from fear and foreboding of what is coming upon the world. It has quite an ominous tone, doesn't it? But then he turns our attention to creation, to the fig tree. In what may feel like chaos and destruction, he says, look at the fig tree. It remains still and grounded in the dormancy of winter. But keep looking, because with the sprout of leaves on that same tree, those mark the signs of life, of resiliency, of new growth, which assure us of the coming of summer. The dormancy of winter is not forever. The new growth of spring and vibrancy of summer will come again. And the same is true for us. And so Jesus urges his followers, do not be driven by worry, by fear. Do not let the chaos and foreboding dislodge your anchor. You are children of God, followers of Jesus. Remember whose you are and who you are called as a people to be. God, the source of all love, created you out of God's own unending love and has redeemed you to be love and light in a world that wrestles with darkness and the power of fear. We are not a people of the chaos and fear, the powers that destroy life. We are a people of love and of unending faith and hope, the powers that support and sustain life, that bring light into the darkness. It can be hard to remain connected to that identity amidst the worries and fear of what seems to be pervading our national and global and even individual daily lives. Whether the worry be about creation care, the many ways that our earth is groaning and flailing under the numerous environmental abuses that we harm her with, or whether the worry be for our neighbor, for those seeking safety, fleeing violence in their homes, in their communities, in their countries, or whether the worry be for how to secure peace in a world and in communities so fiercely aligned against one another. There are many reasons why it can be hard not to be overcome by the worries of this life. And yet Jesus pleads, be on guard so that your hearts are not weighed down. weighed down by the unhealthy ways we cope with the chaos of this world. Be on guard that your hearts are not weighed down with all the worries of this life. For all of these are temporary. Leaves will sprout again. Summer will come again. Light and life will return. Jesus, the Son of Man, will return to us, and life will spring forth anew. St. Luke's, this is an exciting time for us. Yes, transition naturally brings up anxiety around what this change means, what it will look like for us. But this is also an opportunity for us to dream anew for our community, to pray about the various ways God may be inviting us to offer our gifts in service to the larger parish. It is a time for us to pray about who God is calling us as a community of faith to be, how we are to embody the love of God to one another, to the people of Atlanta, and to the larger church and the world. The active dormancy, and yes, I use that intentionally, active dormancy in this transition includes prayer, conversation, and discernment. For these things will bring forth amazing new shoots of life and of God's love, expressed in ways that we can't even begin to imagine right now. I know that I've shared this before, but it bears repeating. One of my favorite meditations to help me enter into Advent is actually a work of art that hangs on my office wall. It is a word art print by Michael Podesta, and it reads, "If as Herod, we fill our lives with things and again with things, if we consider ourselves so unimportant that we must fill every moment of our lives with action, when will we have the time to make the long, slow journey across the desert, as did the Magi, or sit and watch the stars, as did the shepherds, or brood over the coming of the child, as did Mary? For each of us, there is a desert to travel, a star to discover, and a being within ourselves to bring to life." St. Luke's, we have a journey across the desert to walk. We must allow ourselves time as a community to stare at the stars and dream anew the possibilities that exist among us as a congregation, and wonder over the hope that we share for our parish family. And even though it is uncomfortable to wait, to live in a period of discerning, of unknowing, of preparing, we have this time to nurture and rediscover the being of our parish and nurture our parish into new life. We get to rediscover who St. Luke's is and how we want to share the beauty of this community outside those doors. This is sacred and holy work, and it will take all of us. And I know we are up to the task. So let us take heed to Jesus' admonition. Be on guard, so that our hearts are not weighed down with the worries of this life. Let us cast away the works of darkness, the power of fear and anxiety, and put on our armor of light, the armor of love, strengthened by our faith, and by our hope for what is to come. And walk assuredly into this Advent season, a season of waiting, a season of hope, a season of looking forward towards what is to come. And let us continue to embody the love and the hope that God grounds us with. Amen.